Hello everyone, welcome to the Getting Started recording for Computer Fundamentals B. And Computer Fundamentals B is the second semester of Computer Fundamentals, or the second block of Computer Fundamentals. So most of you have probably taken Computer Fundamentals A. If you haven't taken Computer Fundamentals A, you'll probably still be okay in this class, but you will need to have a pretty good background on using Microsoft Office or OpenOffice. So you need to think about that a little bit. But those of you that took Computer Fundamentals A, you will have no problems with this class. It'll work out fine. So what this is going to do is give you an opportunity to learn about the course, how to navigate the course, what I expect as your instructor, and ways to get off to a good start in the class. So the first thing we're going to look at, of course, I'm right here. When you log in, I'm writing the announcements, and lots of students call this the home page or the course home area. Well, it's really not the course home area, even though it says course home right here. This is really the announcements area. So in my class, I always call this the announcements page, or the announcements area. And this is where all of my communications come from as I share out with you what you need to do in the class. So you'll find everything in the announcements. For example, if we take a look at week 1, you'll see that here is how I structure the weekly work. And the way that I do this, some of you will know from previous classes, is that our week goes from, like this goes from Monday, January 7th to Sunday the 13th. Ideally, you'd have the work done by Friday of the week, and then you wouldn't have any work to do on the weekends. But you can do it however you want to, obviously. So the way I suggest, I break it down into 2 sections, a Tuesday section and a Thursday. Tuesday meaning that this work you might want to get done by Tuesday, and this work you might want to get done by Thursday. Some students decide that maybe they'll just do all this work on started on Tuesday, so they do this Tuesday, Wednesday, and they would do this Thursday, Friday. Now for this week, it goes pretty quickly. You could do all in one day, probably within a couple of hours at the most. That includes watching this video. But other weekly work, as we get into the course, of course, the assignment's going to be longer than the stuff just for this week, the introductory stuff. So anyway, this is what we're going to be covering this week. So you watch this recording, which you're doing now, then do the Getting Started write-up. That's easy points. You review all the Getting Started information. That's all over here at the left side. Review the course syllabus, although we'll look at it today. Then you review the orientation, especially the Success and Study Skills section. And here's the orientation right here on the left. And then the second part of the week, you do the Introduce Yourself discussion, which is right here, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And you do the My Learning Plan assignment, which is an easy 50-point assignment, and that's right here. So that's what you do for the week. The little welcome to class announcement, just a typical announcement that teachers have, of course. And then I have an announcement about the usage of Class Connect. So let's go ahead and talk about that right now. Now the Class Connects, of course, these are either the recorded session or the live sessions. And first I want to speak about the live sessions. Most teachers, when they do their live Class Connects, they present the work for the week. They go over the lesson and all of that. I do mine differently. What I do with my live Class Connects, I use them as a question and answer time. Sort of, if we were in a regular school, my live Class Connects would be like my office hours, and you could drop by for my office hours. And we could talk about what you have, what needs you have specifically. So there are a chance for you to check in with me. Some students on the live Class Connects, they just check in and say, hey, Mr. H, I'm doing fine, I have no questions. Then they go do their work. Other students who need help on assignments, I'll be there for that. So that's how the live ones work. The recorded ones, like this one, every Saturday or Sunday, I go in and I record the lesson for the week. Then I post that recording. And then you use that recording to do what are called the Class Connect write-ups. Just like you'll be using this recording to do what's called the Getting Started write-up, you'll see over here at the left. Each week, you'll have a Class Connect write-up. And what the Class Connect write-ups do You can see down here below they're assigned each week, and they do two things: give you an overview of the work for the week, plus the Class Connect write-ups, and then they also account for your grade. And the write-ups are done from the recording. So the way that you do the write-ups is, as it says right here, you watch the recording for that week, then you answer the questions in the write-up. And during the recording, I show you the exact answers and tell you the exact answers. So the recordings are really useful because they tell you what's going on for the week, plus the recordings help you do the Class Connect write-ups. Really easy points. Now the last thing to share, the live Class Connects, ours will always be on Monday from 9:30 to 10:30 in the morning. I expect everyone to check in. So even if you just check in and say, hey, I'm doing fine, that's great, and then don't participate anymore, that's okay. But one thing I'm going to ask is that please set this aside a time right here, 9:30 to 10:30, or set this time aside, 9:30 to 10:30, to do work for this class every Monday. So if you come into the live session and you say, hey, I'm fine, I don't have any questions, well, what I'd expect you to do is to stay in the live Class Connect, but then open up a window and get some work done for the class. And stay in the live session so then you can ask me questions if you need to. So it'd be like you could be doing independent work in a classroom sitting at a desk if we were in a regular school. So anyway, the idea here is that you go to all the live Class Connects, even if you have nothing to contribute or anything like that, you just still stay logged into it, but then get your work done. Okay, we'll talk more about the Class Connects later. So moving on, let's look at the course syllabus first. Well, as we look at the course syllabus, a little bit of information about me, and actually that says game design. Let me fix that because I of course copied that from another course. So I'm going to go to right here, instructor information, and quickly fix that. I didn't catch that. So this is called Computer Fundamentals B. This shows you how teachers, how we can change some of the information. So we'll go back to the course syllabus. It's pretty easy to change some of the stuff that we have control of, but other things we don't always have control of. So here we are in the course syllabus again. So anyway, Computer Fundamentals B, there's a picture of me at the seaside in Oregon. As we take a look at this, you can see a little bit about me. I've been teaching online since 2001, so I have quite a bit of experience. I've taught thousands of students online, probably 2,000 or 3,000 students, I would say. I have my master's in online teaching and learning, and I took that all online, as I did with my Colorado Principals License program. I did that all online last year. And when I was in a regular school, I was a basketball and track coach as well as a teacher. You can see I live in Grand Junction with my son. He goes to Grand Junction High School, and my wife, who's also in education. So a little bit about this course. So you're going to look at the principles of personal computing, hardware, software, operating systems, using Microsoft Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. If you don't have Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, you can use OpenOffice tools. That works out fine also. And you just go to openoffice.org and you can download the OpenOffice suite of tools. We're also going to look at social and ethical issues around the internet, information and security. So again, this is the second semester of computer applications class, Computer Fundamentals. We look at all the work, you can see that the different units. Now this says Unit 6 because this carries over from Computer Fundamentals A, which is units 1 through 5. So Unit 6 is about basics, analyzing problems. Unit 7 is professional documents and presentations. That'll be Word and PowerPoint. Unit 8 is analyzing, I'm using Excel or using a spreadsheet program if you're using OpenOffice. Electronic communications is Unit 9, and then finally your computer system is Unit 10. Okay, the way the course is broken down, I have the course set up to be 1,000 points. Actually, I need to this needs to be changed, but everything is based on 1,000 points. So I'll just make a quick change here. So bear with me here. Sorry about that. So 1,000 points, and obviously to pass the class you need 595 would be the minimum to pass the class. So I'll get this corrected. So I need to fix that. Anyway, you can see that it's worth 1,000 points. And 595 would be the minimum to pass. That'd be 59.5%. So I make it based on 1,000, so it's much easier for you to do the percentage. So if you want to get 89.5% to pass the class, you need 895 points. Then finally down at the bottom it talks about the Class Connect write-ups, and I already talked about that a little bit. So you should have some understanding of the Class Connect write-ups already. Getting started. So here are some of the steps to get started. The syllabus you want to read, and we're looking at that. We looked at that already. The Getting Started recording, which this is. Getting Started write-up you do, the Introduce Yourself entry, and the My Learning Plan. We'll talk about those a little bit later. Getting Started recording, I'll have that linked right here for you. Actually, since you're in this recording, watching it, you've already gone here and found it. Here's the Getting Started write-up. Now this write-up is just like all the write-ups in this class. And after the Getting Started write-up this week, I call the other ones just Class Connect write-ups. But the way you do the write-ups, you copy and paste the questions in the word process into a word processor, find the answers as you watch the recording. So as you go through the recording, you hit pause when you see me or hear me after I explain an answer, and then you go put the answer in. Then write your answers directly below each item, checking your spelling and all that. Then you copy and paste into the text of a Dropbox. You do not attach a file. So the process, you would highlight all of these, right click, copy, and make sure when you copy these after you put them in that you put the numbers next to them. The numbers might not copy into there. So that's the best way for me to give you feedback. Hey, number 3, you need to fix this or whatever. So do not turn these in without the numbers. So again, I just copy this, paste it into a word processor, then I watch the recording, and as the recording goes over the answers, then I pause the recording, go back to the word processor to type the answers in, etc. When I'm finished with all the answers, I do my spell checking and grammar checking. Then I highlight all the questions and answers, paste into the text in the appropriate Dropbox, not an attached file, and then that's the work. So that's how you do the write-ups, not only the Getting Started write-up, but the Class Connect write-ups each week. Okay, the Introduce Yourself and Learning Plan, those assignments are due this week. We'll get back to those shortly. Some other features of my class, the way I have them organized. I have something called Immediate Help. And what Immediate Help is what I call is an ongoing Class Connect session. And you may not know, but the way when we set up a live Class Connect, we can only set them up like on the hour, like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or on the half hour, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, etc. Well, let's say you email me and say, Mr. H, I need some help immediately on an assignment. Well, I'll go back to you and say, okay, I'll see you. If I didn't have this immediate ongoing Class Connect session, I would have to say, well, we have to wait till 9:30, and then I can set the session up, and then we can go into it at 9:30. Or if you give me a phone call, and hopefully we're trying to solve your problem, but we can't, and we need to meet online, then instead of having to wait for 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock for me to set up a session, we can just go into this live session, this immediate session automatically. So the way, because it's when I have it running 24 hours a day, it's live, and you can go into it anytime and we set it up. So what you would do, you'd click right here on Immediate Help, and you'd click Immediate Help, Immediate Class Connect, type in your first name, your last name, enter the session, and I'll be in there waiting for you. Now the thing about it is that we set it up ahead of time, because I'm not just sitting in there waiting for students. So we set it up ahead of time. So again, we might be on the phone and I might say, hey, it might be easier if we go into the Live Class Connect for me to see your screen so I can help you. So then we both go into it. So we do it ahead of time. And then we can do the immediate session. So anyway, clicking immediate help helps you get into the immediate ongoing Class Connect session. More about the grading in the class. So the grading, now this one I do have set up properly, so I'll fix that other one, but this is the grading. So you can see 1,000 points, and passing you need to have 595, because that would be 59.5%. Here are all the activities that the class entails. So you can see that you'll do a finishing plan halfway through the class, the learning plan you'll do this week, hopefully. Assignments and discussions, worth 17 of those, 350 points, so that's 35% of your grade. Quizzes, 35% of your grade. Class Connect write-ups are 20% of your grade. So you can see how all the grading breaks down. Academic integrity, I think all the classes have this, where it talks about making sure you're the one that actually does the work, you do your own work, you don't plagiarize, those types of things. So read through the academic integrity. Teacher contact information. If you need to get a hold of me, Kmail is the best way to contact me. I check it more often than I check my phone. Also, here's my Insight email, but I would prefer, if it's a course issue, use Kmail. That way we can keep track, we can have records of everything. My phone number, here's my personal cell. Please only call me on the phone if we've previously set up a phone call. Don't just call me out of the blue, because I could be working with other students, be busy grading work, and wouldn't have time for you. So I'd much rather give you the time that you deserve as my student. So we need to set up phone calls ahead of time. And communications. Really important, and I really stress this with all of my classes. And since we're working online, we don't have the benefit of easily having somebody clarify what they mean. So we have to be really clear in all of our communications. And the easiest way, as I said before, is to reach me is through Kmail. But a few things about all of the communication tools in the class. The first thing, the announcements. This is the best way to keep current on the class. So as I showed you before, the announcements not only have the assignment for the week, all the weekly work is listed in the announcements, but if there's a class-wide issue, let's say there's an issue with one of the spreadsheet assignments, and I've had 2 or 3 students say that they're having problems with a certain part, well, I'll put the solution to that in the announcements. So always, if you have something regarding the class, go look at the announcements first, and I may have already answered that. Also in the announcements, I'll have an announcement called Index of Class Recordings. So you can go into that Index of Class Recordings and see everything that I've recorded for the class. So announcements, that's the main place you go for information on the class. Okay, the main communications is Kmail, and I mentioned this previously. But there are some issues with Kmail. First issue is that when you send a Kmail to a teacher, it does not tell us, the teachers, it doesn't tell us what class you're in. So it's a real pain, especially here in the beginning of a course and we don't know specifically what class a student is in, or a student might be in 2 of our classes. It's really hard. So what we need to do is when you do a Kmail, in the subject line of the Kmail, and you all know what a subject line of an email is, you need to put the course name as well as the topic of your Kmail. Don't just type a Kmail and put in the subject line, I need help. If you do that, I'm going to return the email and say, this is unacceptable. Because I don't have time to waste on answering an email 2 or 3 times, and you don't have time to waste on having to write it 2 or 3 times, do you? So write it correctly the first time. So if you're having trouble with assignment 3, this would be the proper information you would put in the subject line of the Kmail. And then I would know that you are in computer fundamentals, and then I need to know that, and in my mind I'll say, oh, assignment 3, yeah, I had other students with that problem. Then within the text of the email, you would tell me what your needed help is. And we could probably, if you do this thing the right way and specific on what you need, then we can solve the problem probably within 1 or 2 emails rather than going back and forth. So again, this is the type of a subject line that you need to do. The other thing about emailing, if it's a new topic, so right here, if it's a new topic in the K-mail that you're emailing me about, please make it a new K-mail or revise the subject line of an old K-mail. I get it really upset and it really bothers me when some students just reply to an old email and they just leave the old subject line in. I'm sure you've seen that. But you know, that would be like if you're trying to answer, if I ask you a question and then you give me an answer that relates to a question that I asked you 2 days ago. That's not how you communicate with people. So, if I send you an email like welcome to class, I send that to you today, and then 2 weeks from now you have a question about assignment 4. Well, if you reply to that email that I said welcome to class, and you don't change the subject line or anything, I'm not going to know what you're talking about. And then if I open that and it says, hey, on assignment 4, I have an issue, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm not going to reply. Well, I will reply to that. I'll reply and say, please send the email to me properly. So I'm not being a tough guy about this, but the idea here is to streamline communications so that we're not going back and forth with a bunch of emails. Also, the nice thing about this is if you use the proper subject line of your emails, then we'll both have records in our whole K-mail box. We'll have records of when we discuss certain things. Lastly, in your K-mail, when you talk about what your issue is, be specific. If you're really specific about what you need, I might come back to you with just one K-mail with the solution to it. But if you just send me a K-mail that says, the subject line says, Computer Fundamentals, I need help with assignment 3, and then in the text of the email you say, please help me with assignment 3, and then you send it, that does nothing for me to help you. So you would say, in assignment 3, I don't know how to do the formatting for the heading. Well, then I could probably come back to you with an immediate email that would give you the solution you need. Okay, phone calls. I already talked about this. Here's my cell number. But we need to schedule phone calls ahead of time rather than you calling me out of the blue. So I'm obviously willing to talk to students, but set them up ahead of time. Class Connects, our live sessions, as I've said before, I think, 9:30 to 10:30 every Monday. I expect you to be at those, at least checking in. And if you don't have anything that you need to help with, then you can check in, you'll stay logged in, and you can do some work for the class for that day. The other thing about the live sessions is not every time, but I often will provide 10% extra credit Hold on a second. I'll often provide 10% bonus points for any work you do for that week that you turn in that day if you attend the Class Connect session. So it would be just for the work for that week that you turn in that day if you attend the live Class Connect. So 10% bonus can really help. I am on Skype, but I don't open that up very much, so but you're welcome to add me if you want to. Then finally, Windows Live Messenger, rharrisonteach@live.com. So this semester I'm going to try to, or this block I'm going to try to have live going as much as possible. Orientation, you'll work through this on your own. So it talks all about computer fundamentals. Specifically look at the Success tab and the Study Skills tab. So those areas I really want you to pay attention to. So those are all the basic tools on the left side of the class over here that I wanted to introduce you to have you, so you have a little bit more information about the course and how it works and what I expect and things like that. Now the last couple things, I'm going to go back to the course home, which obviously has the announcements on it. So really, I guess this is, I mentioned earlier that this really isn't course home, but this is course home page, but this is the course home area. So the course home page is different from the course home area. So if I ask you a question in the write-up for the week, where do you find the assignments for this week? Well, you find the assignments in the announcements. You don't find the assignments in the course home area. There aren't assignments listed over here, are there? So this is the course home page. This is the course home section. Anyway, let's take a look at this word. So you watch the Getting Started recording. Hopefully you're finding the answers to the Getting Started write-up, the Getting Started information, the course syllabus you looked at, orientation. So the work for this week: introduce yourself discussion and the My Learning Plan. Introduce yourself. So you click right over here on Introduce Yourself, and you can see that Vanessa is already posted. But as introduce yourself, I just have 6 simple questions. This is a way for me to know more about you and for your classmates to know more about you. Just, kind of a getting to know you kind of a thing. So you can see just some basic questions here. Now, if you want to respond directly to these 6 questions to post your own, you hit the word respond. Now you can see you'll put your name right here, like my introduction or something like that, and then down here you'll do the answers, and then you'll hit post. Now when you do these, I would like complete answers, and I'll show you examples of complete answers. So you'll answer all of those in your response, then you'll hit post. Now the other thing that you can do that I would ask is reply to classmates and keep your topics and language appropriate for school. So like here's Mr. Harrison's introduction. So if you want to look at Mr. Harrison's introduction, if you want to respond to me, then you just hit the word respond right underneath my introduction. And that would be a response just to me. That would not be your posted entry. Your posted entry goes right here. This is only to respond to other people. And here's an example of the questions. You can see that I used complete sentences, even though I don't have punctuation at the end of everything. But I reiterated what the question was. My favorite ice cream is cookies and cream, because the question was, what is your favorite ice cream? So rather than just listing Mr. Harrison, Grand Junction, cookies and cream, I restated the questions as part of the answers. So please do that. Give full replies. And let's see what Vanessa did here. And Vanessa, she probably won't mind because this is all public information anyway, right? Anybody can go into it. And look, Vanessa did a great job. She likes the flexibility of online learning. That's like I do too. Play sports, that's cool in her spare time. I think she meant Rocky Road. Although Rookie Road, that could be an ice cream too. Anything with chili, so she likes spicy food probably. She would like to go to Paris. So you can see how Vanessa answered the questions. So those are the types of the way I would expect you to respond to the questions. So that's the introduce yourself. Now the My Learning Plan. Now My Learning Plan, this is an easy 50 points. That's 5% of your grade, right? Because 50 points is 5% of 1,000 total. There are no right or wrong answers to this, but completeness of answers is how you get graded. So this is going to help me determine how you're going to want to learn in the class, and hopefully it'll keep you, you'll refer back to this and say, hey, I said I was going to do the class this way, so I better straighten up and do it right. So the way you'll do these, you'll copy and paste in the text area of the appropriate drop box. Then to answer them, delete the ones that are not your answers. For the other ones, you'll type in the response. So if I take a look at this, as a student, what I would do is I'd highlight all of these, then I'd right-click copy, then I'd paste them in the correct drop box. So I pasted in the drop box, I would go back like right here. How do you plan on doing the coursework? Well, if you're going to do it as scheduled, then the drop box, you would just highlight these two and hit delete to get rid of those. How many hours you plan to do the work? Well, maybe you're going to do 4 to 6 hours, so then you would delete this in the drop box and delete this text in the drop box. So you can answer them that way. Now on numbers like 4, 6, and 7, where you have to type in answers, this one, explain what you'll do to make sure you're in the grade. I want specific things, so making course schedule, printing out all the assignments and keeping track of your grades. That's a way you could earn the grade you want. Going to all the class connects is a way to earn the grade you want. Making sure you turn in quality work. Make sure you turn in work on time. Make sure you stay up to date in the class. Send K-mails to the teacher when you have questions. Those are how you can earn the grade you want. So I want 3 or 4 specific things. Working on this class at the same time, maybe you work on this class Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 12. So having a set schedule could be really important. Down here, also another thing to earn a good grade is taking notes of the work you do. Number 6, some things you can do if you do not understand assignment. Well, there are a few things. You could K-mail the teacher. You could have your parent or someone else read over the assignment. Maybe there's something you're missing in the assignment. You could go back and go through the lesson again, go through my recording again. So there are a number of things you can do to help you understand assignment. Then finally, background knowledge, that'll just be for you, so particular to you, so you can complete that. So that's the write-up. And again, you copy and paste all of these right into the appropriate Dropbox. Real easy to do, real easy, 50 points. So that's the same way the Class Connect write-ups are going to go. So I'm going to just go down here, and I don't have all the Class Connect write-ups done yet, but you will see where they are listed. And the last thing I want to cover is you can see the recordings are at the top of each of the unit. But also I'll have in the recordings, I'll have an index to class recordings posted in the announcements. So let's go take a look at the Getting Started write-up, see if we answered all these questions. How many points is the learning plan worth? How do you submit it? Well, I just talked about it, right? Go right here to learning plan to remember that. The exact subject line to send me an email to clarify assignment 3. Well, remember how I said subject lines need to be? And for this one, you're going to ask for clarification of assignment 3. So use the appropriate subject line. So you're going to write in here exactly what the subject line would be if you're going to send me a K-mail to clarify assignment 3 in this class. Weekly live Class Connect sessions for this class. I showed you a couple of different places where that is. Lesson recordings, how are they useful for you? Well, the recordings do 2 things. They give you an overview of the work for the week, and the recordings help you answer the Class Connect write-ups. 2 things. How can you prepare yourself for quizzes and exams? Well, if you look over here, let's see. I don't remember if I have it in here yet. I do. See right here it says exam preview. What I do for you in each unit, whenever there's a quiz or exam, I give you the preview right in that unit. So to do better on the quizzes and exams, you would go in and look at the quiz and exam previews. Where can you find the recordings each week? Well, the recordings each week are right in the unit. So they're right in the unit of study. Also, the recordings are in the index of class recordings. How can you see the feedback you get on assignment? Well, I think you've done this before, but you go into the grade book, click on the assignment grade, and you'll see what the teacher says about the work you did on that assignment. The work to be done each week, I shared that with you, didn't I? Remember writing the announcements. So the specific place for the work to be done each week is the announcements. Where can you go to get immediate help? Wasn't there a link over here, something about immediate help? I imagine so. And then finally, what is the number of points to make sure you pass the class, the lowest number of points to pass the class? Well, I pointed that out earlier too. So those are the questions. I want good answers to those, and that's going to be an easy 20 or 30 points. I remember what this write-up is worth. So that's all I have for you. So this 34 minutes was worth your time, I hope. Now you're ready to get off to a good start in this class. Thanks, everybody, and I look forward to your work. Bye.